Is the Friday live stream for the Doug Show, and we're going to talk about 6 ways to improve content at some point. That's the main meaty part of the topic today. We're going to answer some questions, of course, and that is sponsored by Niche Website Builders. So they came on recently. I've been working with them, testing out their service. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to try and test it, but do let me know. Oh, I hear myself here, so that's good. So let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Hopefully we'll have a handful of folks show up today. I think it could be a quieter crowd, which is totally fine. I'll just finish early. And I'll also let you know about a new course that's coming out next week. It's called Site Growth Plan. And if you are, if you're not on my email list, you should join it. You'll get at least 1 or 2 emails out there. And additionally, I'll probably do a live stream and some other content next week in support of it here on YouTube. Early in the video here, I want to make sure I plug my stuff just to make sure people go take advantage of the resources that are out there. So number 1 is the Doug Show podcast. You could find it on your favorite podcast directory or player. It's at Doug.Show. If you were to type in the URL, if you want to listen to it on the web or anything like that. So Doug.Show, there's a lot of similar content is what I cover here on YouTube, but there's also interviews where people don't want to be on YouTube. So there's a handful of those and just other, long form episodes where I talk about a topic. I also have a website. It's nichesiteproject.com. So you can go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email address, and you'll be able to get all my templates and systems. There's a lot of great resources out there. In fact, someone sent me an email just this week who found a YouTube video, and they signed up, started reading through, I think there's probably over 100 pages of content that's just freely available once you sign up for the email list. You can unsubscribe after you get the stuff, but you'll probably want to stick around. Thanks, folks, for letting me know you could hear me. And we got Jeremy on, we got Rajesh, who asked me to schedule these for 1 hour sooner. So I'll take it under advisement. It could be a slippery slope if I just start scheduling things based on viewers' availability. Basically, I would just broadcast 24/7. We have, I can't see you. David's on as well. Good to see you. And I owe you an email. Then we got Ashley, Raz, Ibrahim. You said that the KGR is, you found success with KGR. How can I share the success? You can shoot me an email, doug@nichesiteproject.com. Aman's on as well, and so is Muhammad. So thanks, folks, for hopping on today. I do have that new course coming out as well. So like I said, keep an eye out for that sort of thing. And it's called Site Growth Plan, and it helps you grow your site. So a lot of times people will launch a site, you found some level of success, and things are not growing anymore. You've stalled out, you're plateaued, you're sort of just doing the same things that you have been doing, but things aren't working. They're not working as well as they were, or they're flat out not even helping you grow. So you're putting out this effort and you're not getting the same return that you saw. And I've seen this time and time again. And then over the years, it's actually one of the most common questions that I've received. And this was top on my list for a course, a sort of it's not a mini course, it's just a single focus on this course. There's a lot of, there's a lot of material in there, but it is available immediately. So as soon as you enroll, you're able to get access to all 4 units. You can really go through everything in probably an afternoon. It does take time to do the work though. So you'll have all the information. You can do everything in one day, right? You can go through all the content in one day, but then to implement it will take some time to do. And then it'll take a little time to get some results. Depending on, where you are at with your site, it may take, a couple days to get some of the results. So if there's a particular case where maybe your content needs to be touched and improved, you can really kind of work through that quickly and get results fast. If you are link building for the first time, then it may take you weeks or even months to see the actual results, depending on how many links you had previously, the quality of your content, and a number of other factors. But essentially, this course guides you so that you understand where your site is currently, where you want it to be, and how to close that gap. Then I go through content, some conversion rate things that you can play with, and link building. There's actually a lot of material on link building. So I will leave it at that for now. And let's jump back to the chat. We got Bonnie, what's going on? And Dan, Ezoic, Charles says Ezoic or wait until Mediavine. I'm at 10,000 page views a month, and you started in April. Charles sent me an email a little while back. I'll go ahead and hit this question because it's relevant, and go ahead and put up the little sponsored niche website builders. They have a few discounts available for the viewers here. So you could follow the link in the description. There's a few more details, but essentially you can save 10% you can get an additional 10% of content for the content plans if you buy a done-for-you site, which they actually kind of work together and build with you. They build it for you, but you have input, which is good. 10% more content there, or you can get 10% off their link building package, which they are proceeding with the Shotgun Skyscraper link building package for one of my sites to see. I'm testing it to see how it works out. So far, so good. The content is excellent. So Charles says, should he sign up for Ezoic or wait until Mediavine? So one thing I want to really emphasize here is there's sort of like a misconception about like the quality or what you can earn based on the display ad companies and the threshold that you can get in there. So one interesting thing, so I'm sponsored by Ezoic. They actually sponsor part of this segment as well, or not segment, but this live stream. So Ezoic is more of a software company, right? So they have a lot more software to support smaller, publishers. That's the right word. So technically, right, if you just remove all the baggage that we have about the different companies and the different thresholds where someone can actually join a company, those display ad companies want access to as many viewers and visitors as possible. They want as many sessions as possible. So a lot of the other companies actually have they can't deal with these smaller sites because they don't have the capacity, they don't have the software to like work everybody in and basically show ads wherever they're needed. So all that to say, I would definitely sign up with Ezoic because there's a good chance that you'll potentially make more. It depends on your niche. It depends on a variety of factors, and you never know until you test it on your site. But there's a good chance, go ahead and get Ezoic rolling right now. And at that point, you'll have at least some data until you're able to test the other networks, which I do encourage you. Test other networks, test AdSense, right? I mean, there's no reason not to use AdSense already. Hopefully you are. So, and by the way, Charles emailed me in the past month or so, the last few weeks. He has 403 posts and he started the site in April. So he's publishing a ton of content. Hopefully I'll be able to catch up with him soon about his progress. And Jack is on from Thailand. It's 2 a.m. there. Raz says, sir, I think I'm doing something wrong because KGR is not helping me grow my blog. Please help me out. My blog is a new one. So if anyone in the chat wants to lend a hand to Roz, I'm not equipped today to answer such a question. I'll just leave it at that. Oh, Bonnie says she has the jet. Cool. And Shivam says, can I do a video for how to research content and write it down with a demo? Yeah, I could totally do that. I can also tell you that there's at least like 3 videos already on the channel right now. One of them is, I think 1 to 2 of them are like webinar style. And they're like 90 minutes. So just go to my channel, search for content, start looking through the longer videos. They're already there. So potentially I could do a new one. The likelihood of that coming out anytime soon is low. So I would watch the old one and it holds up fine. Tornado, what's going on? And let's see what else we got going on here. So I did say that I was going to talk about the like improving content. So it's not going to address exactly what Shivam is looking for here, but if you have existing content on your site, you should be able to use this technique. It's very straightforward. It only takes a few minutes for like a single post. You could do it yourself. And then you can actually outsource quite a bit of this if you do have the capital and the resources to go ahead and hire somebody. It's fairly straightforward too. So I'm going to tell you about the FAQ technique, the FAQ method, which is frequently asked questions. And that's basically how I ended up writing content for my very first site that got a lot of traction. I didn't know much about the product at all. So I just thought, well, why don't I just make a list of questions that I have about the product and use that as the subheadings and kind of a way to format the content. It worked out really well. It's easy to do if you don't know anything about the content. And for me, I actually wrote an affiliate article based on that. So you can use this sort of idea to write a whole piece of review content, or you can use it to add to existing content. That's kind of the focus for today. So if you already have a post out there and you're thinking, hey, I want to beef it up, I want to add a little more content to it, this is a great way to do it in a simple way. So essentially, you're just trying to come up with some questions, or you can look up questions for the keyword and kind of the niche in general as it relates to the keyword. It does need to fit into sort of the subcategory and the subtopic of the keyword that you're targeting for that post. So you can write out the questions. That's step one. If you need help getting ideas, you can go to a forum. Perhaps you can go to Quora, you can go to Facebook groups. An easy thing to do nowadays is just go to Google the term that you're targeting, and then you'll see questions as featured questions. So it makes it super easy to just find the question and find the answer almost immediately. It's almost like too easy to do. So that's why it's easy to outsource. If you do go to a forum, there's usually several different boards in the forum. You can go peruse what sticky notes they have in different boards and different forums, depending on how they classify it in there. And of course, there's a search function in most forums, so you could check that out. And after you check out forums, you could also, this is a really easy hack where you can go read the user manual for the different products that you're reviewing on that page. And typically there are frequently asked questions or features are listed, which you could sort of revamp and put into a question. If you want to do some research on Amazon, you can look up books on the topic. And oftentimes you have the table of contents. I think it's almost 100% of the time you have the table of contents available for whatever book you're looking for. And then you could kind of peruse and get some ideas and topics from there. Sometimes you're able to see, a few chapters into the book. And if you can, a lot of times those early chapters might have some frequently asked questions or topics that you can sort of flip over and turn into questions. You can also, a great resource is Dummies. So the Dummies books, you've probably seen them. There's so many, they have them on like every topic. And a lot of the content is actually available online for free, or at least some of the content, so that you're able to go out there and get some ideas. After you find the questions, right? So I like to batch this and come up with all the questions first, look at different places. Sometimes you could come up with enough of them on your own and you don't have to look farther. If you end up hitting a dead end, then you can go do some research on those forums in different places like I mentioned. After that, you go find the answers to the questions. So you could probably use the resources that you found before. That's typically a pretty easy way to do it. And it's once you put the content onto your site, the questions are typically exactly what you need to use for your subheadings. Most of the time in your content, you could just put a section at the end, FAQs, and then you can go and basically just put those questions and answers in. It's so simple and straightforward, and it's remarkably simple to outsource. It doesn't have to flow with the rest of your article. It's great if it has the same tone, the same writing style, but you don't have to have like a narrative that flows through the whole article. These questions can stand alone. So it's super easy. If you have 10 minutes or something, you could go and just type it in, put in 100 words, and you've added 100 words. If you have a little bit more time and you could spend 45 minutes on it, you could potentially add, 500 more words. Perhaps that's only 5 questions. And it is a little bit easier to do, in my opinion, than to write 500 words that is not structured by questions. So just remember, use those questions as the subheadings, usually a H2 or H3 tag, very straightforward. Feel free to outsource it. It's very easy to outsource this piece of work, both the research portion and answering the questions. So I don't know how much you would pay specifically, but you do have a lot of leeway, and I suspect it would be, very economical. So that is a great way to add some content. I haven't seen anyone add a service, but I know that a lot of people do ask, hey, like what's the fastest way for me to earn some money? Actually, I got this email the other day, and they lost their job. They got laid off. They didn't know what to work on. And I was like, don't build a site if you need money right now. That's like a super slow way to do it. You need to freelance. You need to do immediate work that you can get paid for in the next week or two. If you're building a site or you're trying to start a YouTube channel, that's what this person wanted to do. They wanted to do an affiliate marketing YouTube channel. Great. It's a great market. That's an area that I'm in. And problem is, it's probably going to take 6 months or a year to get a considerable amount of traction, especially if they don't know anything about YouTube. If you know something about YouTube and videos, then you can shortcut the process a little bit. But the point is, you can offer this as a service, I bet. So I just thought of it as I was talking, but if you are a writer and you're thinking, hey, I can add some quick wins, like this is a great way to do it. So let's hop back to the questions, and another shout out for niche website builders out there. And I think there are a few other questions that popped in. So yeah, Charles, would love to check in. Pretty soon if you're up for it. People love to hear the very early part of the process. You're going to forget what it was like pretty quick. And at the rate that you're publishing content, Charles, there's a good chance you're going to blow past some milestones really quickly. So it's great to document it early on. And I point to a couple people on the channel that I've interviewed, students of mine. One, Marty McLeod, saw him a couple weeks ago down in Atlanta. So he's been on the channel like 4 or 5 times. You can hear the change from like the very beginning when he was just making $500 a month until he grew his revenue and eventually quit his job. Christy's another great example. Had her on when she hit the first $100 a month, and she's making $3,000 plus currently. I think Bo mentioned here, he's headed to the beach. Aloha. And he says his site is already past 4,000 this month and will probably go over 5,000, which is fantastic. Congrats on that. And another cool thing, Bo, he's on the channel too. It's just not published yet. It's coming out Monday. So if you're not subscribed to this channel, you should probably subscribe. There's a lot of success stories. So Charles, that's why I'm mentioning, hey, it's great to document this stuff early so we could check in later. And your dancer says, oh, you just bought the course. Looks great. Awesome. So there's a sideway door in, but it's only for certain super special people. So you know who you are. And thanks. I appreciate the support out there. Aman says, do I have any clue about Answer the Public? Is it useful? Yeah. It's a great tool. I think you get 3 free searches per day, but it's a great way to, type in a topic and then you're able to get usually a couple hundred to a few hundred different keyword type ideas. It may or may not be, really valid, but it's usually good enough. Or most of them are good enough. And moving through the chat, InfoZone says, my site gets 350 hits per day. It barely makes any sales on Amazon. You're starting to get worried. Well, InfoZone, my friend, there's a couple things that are potentially going on here. There's actually a unit in the new course Site Growth Plan that comes out on Monday. So I would keep your eyes peeled for that. I think you may have some issues with your conversion points. There's 2 things that could be going on. So you could be doing a really bad job getting people to Amazon. So that's one thing. If you go further upstream, you may be getting the wrong traffic. So if you get traffic to informational posts, then I'm not surprised that you're not sending people to Amazon because people are trying to get information. They're not on the way to make a purchase. So if you're unsure, go look and see, where most of the traffic is going. Look at the top, say 80% of the traffic. What content is it going to? If it's informational, there's a good chance those are not buyers. If they are buying keywords, right? If you think you have buyers on your site, then and usually the character there is there's best in the title, there's review in the title, something product focused, of course. And if you are getting buyers traffic, but they're not buying anything, then you probably have an issue with those conversion points. There's a couple videos on the channel that you can get probably a couple ideas from. Jack says, how important is the Google Search Console? Is it possible to use the Search Console to find keywords related to a specific page on my site? Well, you guys are just lobbing me. You're just lobbing me these questions. This is great. Yeah. You literally can do that. And there's literally a video in the course that goes through and tells you how to optimize based on pulling the report. So you're downloading the queries for a specific page, right? There's a strategy to this. You don't want to do every single page. You want to aim for the top 80%, as normal, something like that. And then you're able to download the queries for that specific page. Then the key is you need to compare what you have on your page, right? The words that are published on that page to the queries, which often are there hundreds usually for a given page. So through a couple formulas and a little, care in pulling that report, you're able to figure out like, hey, I need to add a section on this specific topic. So Jack, I would say having the Search Console is essential. Like you 100%, you should definitely 100% have that on your site running. That data is proprietary to you. No one else can get to it. And then you're able to pull those reports. So you see like, oh, this page is maybe able to get traffic for a specific query, but it's not optimized around it at all. Why don't I just add a section about that topic and then you'll start getting traffic there. So Saeed says, is laptop niche profitable? Yes, it is. It's very competitive though, but very profitable. Dan says you haven't thought of dummies books yet, but yeah, it's a great source. And people shit on those a little bit, but they're pretty decent. They get experts to write the book, so they're pretty good. All right. Juliana says, how long should blog posts be? So it depends on the content. It should be as long as it needs to be, but I would say at a minimum, like 500 words for like a very simple answer. Like what's the boiling point of water in Colorado? And as long as it needs to be. So I would maybe start topping out at, 6,000 words or so. But some topics can afford more words and you can add more if you need it. If it's just the average, run of the mill kind of post, if you aim for around 1,500 to 2,000 words, you're probably in the right ballpark. All right, Charles. Charles is in for an interview soon. Justin's on. Justin's another great one. I've interviewed him a couple times, so just following along with the journey. It's a great way to do it. That's the way I like to do it. Shivam says, can I share the content writing video? You were unable to find it. If a kind person in the chat is able to search for it and find it, maybe it's out there, available. Yeah, I can't look it up now, man. All right, Joseph, you're really enjoying the multi-site profit course. Oh, awesome. You're an experienced front-end developer. What would I recommend to find quality freelance work? What resources would you recommend to find quality freelance work? So I'm not an expert in this. I've done little to no freelancing. I did have a couple smaller gigs several years ago as I was just testing it out. I would probably go to Upwork, and I think there are probably several guides out there on the right way to propose yourself out to gigs so that you can start getting good reviews and work your way up the food chain. As far as how to do that, I don't know the mechanics. I do believe that when you're getting started, you should probably bid on or create proposals for a lot of jobs that you wouldn't want to be doing in the future, but just to get some reviews and get experience on the platform. So I would probably go to Upwork since it's such a big market. I know there are other places for just freelance type work that are more developer focused. So that's one to check out. Or you would have to look those up, Joseph. And Joseph, the other thing is my buddies over at Tropical MBA, they have a service. I'm not sure if it's a marketplace or how you would refer to it, but it's Dynamite Jobs. I think it's Dynamite Jobs. I don't know. I can't remember if they got the .co or .com, but Dan and Ian over there at Tropical MBA, awesome show. It's one that I still listen to every single episode. And that service, Dynamite Jobs, just look it up. You'll be able to check it out. But I think those are sort of high-end remote jobs, and potentially you would have good luck working over there. I haven't used it myself, but I like those guys, and I think they're doing a good job with it. All right. Livy says, instead of trying to target keywords and blog posts, can you create landing pages with Thrive Architect that will lead people to Amazon and try to get that ranked in the search? That's Olivia. All right, Olivia, it doesn't matter if you use pages or posts. Google doesn't care. I would highly recommend, I hate Thrive Architect. I've had so many issues using it from a usability standpoint, and it's slow for me to use. I just don't like it. So the other bad part is they have kind of slow support. At least the last time that I checked in, it took days for me to get an answer, and it wasn't a very good answer. If you look it up, Olivia, I would just look up Thrive customer service and just see if you could find people talking about it aside from me. So you could do that, but I wouldn't do that, Olivia. Bassie says, from the name of the new course, Site Growth, I'm guessing it's not targeted at beginners. That's correct. I have another course, Multi-Profit. That's correct. Yep. So if you want the full thing, if you are starting from scratch, then Multi-Profit Site is the way to go. If you are, if you're stalled out and you want to grow your site growth plan. So Bassie, I am proud of myself for naming the sites appropriately. So at least it's clear, you knew it from the name. Thank goodness. You probably heard me talk about it too. All right. And Bonnie says you discovered Hemingway to check readability. And I haven't used Hemingway. It's pretty good from what I understand. I use Grammarly, the premium version. It has some additional functionality. So you can do plagiarism checks. I'm an affiliate for it. There's a link in the description, but it also can basically upgrade your writing. So it gives you suggestions to make things clearer, and you don't have to. You could take out a lot of the words just to make it more powerful writing. Miguel says, aside from Amazon, what affiliate sites would I recommend that has the same trust? I don't think any of them have the same trust as Amazon. What you should do is look for digital products. That's a really smart thing to do. So courses and software, they exist for almost every niche. You just have to go and find them. So if you could find digital products, that's a great way to diversify, what you're selling. Usually those pay pretty high conversion rates. And we got Alex. We got a celebrity in the mix here from WP Eagle. So if people aren't subscribed to WP Eagle, you should definitely check it out. I have a hunch a lot of you are. And I'll be joining Alex next Tuesday, I believe, for his live stream, which is really awesome. So I'm looking forward to that. So definitely subscribe to Alex's stuff over there so you'll get notified when I'm live on his stream. And Miguel, I'm trying to think if there's any other affiliate programs that have that same level of trust, but I don't think there is. So your best bet is, digital products, because those are going to be outside of Amazon anyway. They have the upside of being more expensive products potentially and a higher commission rate. So that's good. The other thing is you can go niche down. So one example that I often give is there's a sports store here in the US called REI, and they have their own affiliate program, but it's very specialized for outdoor, high-end gear. So some people are loyal to that brand, and they would prefer to order from REI versus Amazon just because they like a smaller company. So that makes sense. And REI has a reputation to treat their employees really well. I think it's one of those where, it's actually a co-op. So a lot of the customers are partial owners and get dividends in return each year. That said, they would have a high conversion rate and very high trust as well. MD says, this is Hasib and I'm here. I am a top-rated digital marketer on Upwork. It's nice to be here. You add KGR and all the keyword research jobs and you got positive feedback. Great. Jack says, what is the plugin to speed up YouTube videos? I don't know, but you could probably Google it. If anyone knows it, you could mention it here. You can speed it up 2x just by default. All right, Miguel says, do I think Amazon would lower their rates again in the future? Yeah, I think Amazon could do anything. Amazon could do anything. So yeah, I would say multi-profit is the smart way to move at this point in time. Rack up social. Jap says great. I don't know how to say your name, but it'll be fun to chat with Alex. So Rackup says, can I show how to analyze Google SERPs for informative keywords? So typically, I'm not equipped here to show right now, but in general, you can look at the length of the content. I'm just going to brain dump and tell you things to look at. So look at the length of the content, the quality, the overall quality of the site, then take a look at the backlinks too. So you may have to use a tool. There's a lot of them out there to check out the backlinks. Check out the backlink strength to that specific page. The overall links to the domain are a little bit important, but I don't get hung up on the domain authority too much. And actually that's a little rant I can go on. A lot of times people will say, hey, there's a site out there and I'm ranking above it and I have a lower domain authority. How is this even possible? Well, the domain authority and basically all the metrics are just metrics from specific companies based on the data that they gather and their own internal proprietary analytics and metrics and algorithms that they're looking at. So they're valuable to give you sort of a relative idea, but they're not set in stone. So that overall, is how you would analyze it. And for the specific example, how to wear shoes with belts. Yeah, so exactly what I said. It's universal, whatever I just said. Mohammed says how to increase the click-through rate. So I have a video out there. I think there's 17 ways to improve the click-through rate. So you could take a look at that video. I should have them all handy here, but if you just go to my channel, search for it on the channel, it's pretty straightforward. So thanks again to the niche website builders. Definitely check out some of their stuff. There's links in the description, and you are eligible for some discounts. You do need to follow the link and then enter your name and email address, so you'll be sent those coupon codes, all right? So they'll send them over to you. And I almost forgot, I was smart enough to look up a couple clips so that I'll be able to take a break for a second. So let me find this one, actually from Justin, who I don't know if he's still watching. Pretty sure I got a Justin clip in here. Where the heck is that one at? I got it here somewhere. Bear with me. It was right here just a second ago. Okay, this is actually from a couple months back, but still valid. So I'll play this one from Justin.
I only have 28 posts on my website, so I don't have that many at all, which is kind of promising for the future and adding more. So info posts, they're right around 1,500 words, sometimes 2,000, but I try to keep it up right around 1,500. And then buyer intent posts are anywhere between 2,000 to 2,500.
Okay.
So,
and then did you write those yourself?
So probably about 50-50. About half of the posts I wrote myself, and then half of the posts are outsourced on Upwork.
Okay. One thing I really like that you've done here is you have 28 posts over the course of a year. They're, a decent length. They're not crazy long, but I do run into a lot of folks, even in the course, they start the course with the best intentions of like doing exactly what I outline as the framework. And then they find themselves trying to publish like 100 or 200 or 300 articles. And I'm like, no, like pump the brakes. Like you got to do some other work along with it, which is around outreach and link building and that sort of thing. So I like that you've kept it at a manageable sort of size for the number of links you have, which we'll be getting to in a second. But I don't know, do you have any observations? I know you're in the Facebook group, you're active, you're in the community. So do you have any observations on people just trying to pump the site with content and then kind of miss the forest for the trees?
I don't know. I kind of wish that I would have more content, actually. Looking back, I could have probably worked harder, but I mean, that's hindsight 2020 now. I mean, currently I'm trying to reach 6 posts a month on the site, but I also have the money now to where I can reinvest it back in and do majority outsourced and just work more on the editing of the post, because that's mainly what I care about, is putting it in my own voice and making sure that the reader is satisfied. So, but I mean, I think if you're at the revenue level that you want to be at and you can do it at a slow pace, then you should.
Okay, cool. And as far as like picking the niche, which we're not going to reveal or anything like that, but some people are like, hey, you got to go for something you're interested in, you're passionate about, or other people are just like, hey, whatever, I don't care what the topic is. I'll write about anything and I could do it. So for this one, are you interested in it? Is it something you actually care about?
Not at all. Nope.
Okay.
It does make it harder to write content. It does make it harder to want to sit down and write. And sometimes I do force myself to write, but I think the money's the motivator in this case, and that since I'm doing so well, and since I know that if I put content out and it's good, then people will consume it, like it, and maybe buy something. It motivates me more than like actually liking the topic. So
Okay. And I kind of fall in the same area where I like the process of doing, the work. So I'm definitely okay just in general with not being interested or passionate about this specific topic. So I also have the luxury, like you do now, to reinvest revenue so that you don't have to do all the writing and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
very cool. All right, and that was Justin back in one of those interviews from. Actually, I don't know when that's from, but I know that it was before March, because that was the old place before we moved and before I got to the new office, where I just turned on the fan because it's getting warm in here for some reason. It's something like it's in the it's a little cooler today. It's 91, but it's so smoky outside. Anyone else in the Colorado area here? Smoky out west here. So okay, so a couple more questions were popping in. And just got to find them. So learn along with me says, thanks for the content. You're getting 90% of your traffic from Pinterest and you want to diversify. So the videos and podcasts about Google traffic have been really helpful. Awesome. Yeah. It's cool that you're getting that much traffic from Pinterest, and hopefully you'll be able to, make it more like 50-50. That would be great. Hazrat says, blog commenting, is that better for creating backlinks? The answer is no. Commenting is not like it's a great way to start the outreach and link building process. But I think you're asking like, are blog comments better than like getting a guest post? The answer is no. Blog comments are, very sort of low power. But I mean, they still add some relevancy, and if you can get traffic through like a good blog comment, then that's great. All right, so Rack Up says, please do a video on how to analyze the SERPs with informative keywords if possible. You're using the KGR technique and you find a lot of keywords in the niche. Actually, I'll do a little poll here because we have 42 people. Does anyone else even care about analyzing the SERPs for informational keywords? So the thing is, I put a lot on YouTube, as you all know, most of you know. And the thing is, I put almost everything on YouTube, but one thing I have not done is do the SERP analysis. And, I kind of forgot that every now and then someone's like, oh, I really want to do competition analysis. The process, and there's a couple of people in multi-profit site course and 5-figure niche site, my sort of like quantitative and qualitative analysis that I put together, it's pretty good. It takes a long time, but at the end of the day, like, you feel pretty confident about the keywords and your niche. So you know what? It's in the course. I don't know if I'm going to do a video on it, if there's enough people who really want to, but I'm afraid like it was actually a decent amount of effort for me to do such a video. And then it is like proprietary, great information. And I'm almost like, you know what? I'm just going to leave it in the course. I told you basically in 2 sentences what you do. In the courses, like, I go through it in great detail. Okay, Charles, we will catch up soon. Olivia says you want to do the course, which is great, out of London. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. So let me know which one you're looking at, and then we could figure out the right way to get you enrolled once you finish the simple SEO course. Loving Creations says, if I want to rank in India, what country should I choose when searching for the KGR search volume? So you should use the country which you want to rank in. So India in this case. However, I don't know if you need to move the search volumes very much for like the threshold and the ratio. So what I would do, this is a good question. I haven't thought about it in this way. I think what I would do is look at the percentage difference between the US and India for like the amount of queries and searches that are happening each day on Google, and then sort of prorate it. So just take the percentage and then I think hopefully you're following me and I'm saying this properly, but prorate the 250. So either, bump it up or bump it down depending on the volume of searches on Google, which I have no idea. It potentially could be, more searches in India with a much higher population and, excellent connectivity. So that's how I would approach it. Adrian, what's going on? A couple dogs. I see a few dogs in there. I think, do people see? Yeah, people see the little dogs. I could even stretch it out. I haven't played with this too much, but yeah, I could put the questions up there, but I never do. But there's dogs in there. That's cool. All right. Miguel says, what do I think about doing local citations with a fake address to directories? I don't do that. Jack says a video on SERP analysis would be great. Okay, so 1 vote, 2 votes. Rackup says I've been watching a lot of videos about SERP analysis and wanted to have my take. Got it. So 2 votes. I would say that's that's not many. So I will keep it under advisement there, but it is one of those. It's a balance, right? It's a huge balance because I have to, well, you know what? I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything if I don't want to. So basically you could, publish content on YouTube and not charge for anything. Unfortunately, that is not a sustainable business model. So I can't do that. Some of the stuff that I do needs to be charged for. All right. So that's why I do the courses. And they're actually pretty helpful. You form like a little sort of community. And the other part is people actually do the shit that I teach in the courses, where YouTube videos, let's say I do a YouTube video and it's 10 minutes long. People are only going to watch like 5 fucking minutes of it. So I know it's a waste. If you pay a couple $100 for something, you're going to watch the whole fucking video. So that's just how it works. So and at the same time, like, yeah, I want to pull in more viewers and stuff like that. The sad part is, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm mostly sure that a video on SERP analysis wouldn't be like, it's too obscure. So that's not going to pull in new viewers. That's a deep cut. So that's my thought process sometimes when I'm thinking about the videos, like how am I going to approach this? It's like, okay, I do this video. Most people are not even going to watch it. A handful of people are going to watch it to the end, like the people that are asking for it. And then it's not going to pull in new people. It's just like really awesome for like 8 people, which is not bad. Some of the content is definitely like that, but I do have to choose what I'm working on wisely. In a little bit more of a break here, my buddy Morten Storgard, I interviewed him recently. He started a site not too long ago. I guess it's about a year old at this point. And when I chatted with him, he was getting like 90% organic traffic, which is pretty typical for, an SEO style site. And be sure to check out his channel. And I will just play the clip right now. Boom.
I think it's 7 to 8 months old now, and so I try to start new websites pretty regularly. I also started one since then, but this is like a bigger project. It's a huge niche. So it's 7 months old, and should I just throw some numbers? Yeah. So over the last 30 days, it's sitting around 13,000 page views, and it's 90% organic traffic from Google and a bit of Pinterest. And it's only monetized so far with the Ezoic ads, and it's doing pretty well with an earning per 1,000 page views around $20, or with the Ezoic it's earning per 1,000 visitors. So it's probably a little lower if you look at it from the 1,000 page views. Maybe it's around 17 or something like that. And I outsource the content 100% for this site. And I have a pretty big team of writers now. I have 10 or 11 writers now. And I posted the first article in July 2019, and I quickly posted 20 articles just to get everything rolling on something super, super long tail, you know, something that I would definitely rank for just to get things going. And right now it's around 180 articles on the site.
Okay. And as far as your content team, a lot of people like to geek out on that and they imagine, hey, it sure would be great if I could just give my team a bunch of keywords. So how do you have it set up? Where did you find these writers?
Yeah, so all the writers I have right now are hired on Upwork. And then I went through a lot of hassle to sort of get them out of Upwork because I hate the platform. I mean, all the hoops and loops you have to jump with the feedback and all that. It's just way too much logistics for me. So I quit the Upwork platform and now I work directly with everybody. So I managed to get most of them out. And so it's my own team of writers, you can say, and some are writing as little as one article a week, and I also hired my first full-time writer, and that's definitely something I'm looking more into right now. I'm looking into hire someone more, another person like full-time.
Do you have a manager type, or do you work directly with each of the individuals?
Yeah, so 2 months ago, I upgraded, you can say, or I took the best writer I had and one that I thought could do this well. So I asked her if she wanted to become the editor. And before that, I edited all the articles, and it was getting to consume 50% of my time, and it was just impossible because, you know, it's a lot of content. I think I posted something like 500 or 600 articles last year, and they are all very long. Like,
oh, goodness. The keyboard shortcuts, I'm trying to chat over here and then it pops over when I hit a keyboard shortcut that I don't know is a keyboard shortcut. Let's try and go back to the clip.
Starting from 1,500 words and longer. So it took a long time just to find the pictures, you know. So I asked one of my writers that I had the best chemistry with if she was interested, and she was just exploding like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. And so I matched her salary and got her on full time, and that's the best thing I ever did, I think, from a project management perspective. I'm very happy I did that. So today she managed all the other writers. I rarely talk to them. I mean, they send me the invoice. That's the only communication I have with the writers. So she's updating them whenever there's something they need to know. Sometimes I'll shoot a little video if there's something I want them to do differently, or if there's some errors, I'll tell her, and then she'll communicate it out on I use Slack for that. So I can see what they're communicating about. But she's handling everything for me now, and that's awesome.
Perfect. That echoes exactly my thoughts on like a content manager editor type, because it's really easy to just burn so much time, and you know, you get into it and they can probably do it faster. They could probably do it faster than you. So
and also I'm not native American either, or native English for that matter. So English is my second language, so there's a lot of things I wouldn't catch, and she's much better. I mean, she went through university and also worked as a tutor and helping people getting the writing in place. So yeah, she's definitely better than I am and faster and everything.
For the editor, how do you structure her payment? Is it like an hourly or is it salary now?
Yeah, so she still writes a lot. So the first thing she does every day is to see if there's anything she can edit and publish. So she will find pictures and do the formatting if there's anything. So she will do everything. I don't only have this one person to take like the post and put it online and also do internal links. So she'll do that. And so for the editing part, I'm actually paying her more than I am for the writing part, which I think is probably opposite of what most people are doing. At least that's what I found out afterwards. I was just doing what made sense for me. I thought, well, it takes more skill to take a text and make it even better. So I pay her an hourly fee for the editing part, and for that I pay her 30% more than when she's writing. But yeah, I figured out afterward that I could probably get cheaper editors. But I think to me it makes sense to have someone with high skills and who's really on it, and she's really good. So I don't regret that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And actually we did everything like exactly the same way. I usually hire a set of writers, find the good ones, promote them because they're bored from writing, and then they're happy to do it. And usually, right, because they're at a manager role, right? So they're not just editing, they're doing more. So you should definitely pay them more. That totally makes sense to me. Yeah.
And I'm also glad that she's not just editing or just writing, because I've tried both. For another website, I was trying to write full time, something like 40 hours per week, and just typing. My hands got so sore. I started voice typing on my Mac, just because I couldn't really type anymore. So that was a really, really good experience for me to figure out how much can you actually write and how much output can you produce, because I think I'm typing fast, and I talked with her about it before I promoted her to go full time, because I wanted her to not burn out, and I really wanted her to be comfortable in this position. And so I think this mix between writing and editing, and she's also doing other stuff for me. That's maybe 10-15% of like VA stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the writers, how much are you paying them? How is it structured?
Yeah. So I'm definitely at the low end. I paid around 2 cents per word. And I'm also testing writers from all over the world. I have writers in South Africa and one in Nigeria. I've been testing out Kenya, but the most of my writers are from the States. And I always try to find writers who are, as you can say, like beginners. So they don't have like a long history of writing, and so that enables me to get a better price. But it also means that I have to sort through hundreds of writers. I think I tested out maybe 100 or 120 writers to get my team of 10 writers. And there was the people that I actually gave like a test article. So before that, it was also a big selection.
Okay, gotcha. And then you let me know ahead of time, you've spent about $9,000 on the content overall for the 180 articles.
Yeah, for this new website, yeah.
Okay. All right, I think we're back. Yeah, sorry I hit that shortcut key as I'm like typing in the chat, and it switches the source. So then it flips back with like video. It's a good thing. Like I don't get undressed in here as I'm like doing the live streams or whatever. So, and it's on this camera too, this fucking thing. All right, so got a few questions, and I guess I said some things that made people curious. Someone asked about using Yoast SEO, and I said Yoast sucks, which I haven't used it in a few years, probably 4 years or so. And even then it was getting a little bloated. And the big problem with Yoast is it has the little red, yellow, and green. So what happens is people try and get all greens. The big problem is people are using the keyword golden ratio, and they're keyword stuffing. So they're trying to follow what Yoast is telling them to get all those green lights, and you end up keyword stuffing, and then your site never ranks, and then you wonder why things aren't working out for you. And Yoast is just sort of a bloated plugin, like overall. So I haven't used it in a long time. The reason why is because my theme that I use, my WordPress theme, has it built in. So I can put in the title, I can put in the meta description, I can index or no index, follow, no follow. A lot of different features are just built in to the theme. So in my WordPress editor, all that's just available to me. I don't have to have an additional plugin. So I haven't used one in a pretty long time. People really like Rank Math though. So that's a newer one. It's a leaner plugin from my understanding. People seem to really love it. I went as far as installing it and making a couple setting changes, and it seems fine, but I haven't really used it much. Dan is looking for sites that are 6 to 12 months old. And it sounds like you really want sites that have traffic or a few posts. You just don't want a brand new site. So I was, it's a strange criteria to just look for a site that's 6 to 12 months old. So I knew like, hey, you're looking for something different, but you just asked about something that is typical for the criteria that you're actually looking for. So Motion Invest is out there, but yeah, there's Human Proof Designs. They also have sites that get traffic and have content. They're the age sites. They're quite expensive for what they are typically, but if you're looking for a site that's earning a little bit of money and getting a little bit of traffic, you should be okay. Go into human proof. Rack Up says, what's the price we can sell profitable sites? You have a 4-month-old site. It's made $400. You're planning to make $4,000 to $5,000 and sell it for, can it be sold for 10 to 20x? Probably. So it depends on a lot of criteria, like how old the site is. So if it's only 4 months old, you're probably not going to be able to get as high of a multiple as if it's, say, 6 months or a year or 2 years old. 10 to 20 is really low. And that's 10 to 20 for the people that aren't familiar. That's 10 to 20 times the monthly profit. So not the revenue, but the profit. So the revenue after the expenses. So typically, these days it's around like 25 to 35x, depending on the site. And there's a lot of different criteria that people consider. So if your site has terrible content and it's, looks crappy, you're not going to be able to get as much as if it's in good shape. Zacharias says, what do I think about a viral meme site? I don't have any experience with it. I would personally not recommend it. Sounds like a treadmill of work versus just getting, traffic and a little bit more passive. All right. I think we have most everything covered here. So Shivam says, what do I think about timeroid technique? I don't know what that is. So I have no thoughts. Let me give a little shout out. I mentioned Ezoic before. So Ezoic has the site speed accelerator that will speed up your site. One thing that you should do before you try and use the site speed accelerator or any sort of caching plugin, just get things squared away on your site. Get it loading as fast as you can without using anything else. So usually, some of the biggest mistakes are images that are way too big. You might have a lot of like embedded YouTube videos, which is not one YouTube video, probably okay. If you have a bunch of them, it really slows the site down. I actually use a plugin to speed that up. The embed code, the iframe sort of embed code that you get from YouTube has a lot of additional calls that are made even if the person doesn't watch the video. So with the plugin that I use, there's a placeholder image, the thumbnail for the video, and a person has to click it, and then it loads the script, and then they have to click it again to play. And the thing is, it's a fairly low percentage of people that will watch the video on your page. So it doesn't make sense to load all of that for the embedded video unless they really want to watch the video. So anyway, the point is, get things squared away on your site before you use the Site Speed Accelerator. They have a free 7-day trial. You can follow the link in the description. You can install it. It'll take a few minutes to get set up. I don't recommend that you use the WordPress plugin. I recommend that you use the DNS configuration. That way you'll be able to take advantage of better caching, their content delivery network, the CDN, which is via Cloudflare. So they're using sort of the best servers out there. So thanks to Ezoic. And let's see if there's any more questions before we move on here and call it a day. Rack says, while selling sites, monthly revenue would be considered, or overall past income would also play a role. It's usually the monthly income, but it's over the course of like 6 or 12 months. A lot of times people will look at the 3-month average, the 6-month, the 12-month, 18, like as much data as you have, like they will look at. But usually a year is pretty solid. And rack up, go read a bunch of content over at Empire Flippers. There's a lot of things that you could just read through their FAQs and it'll clear some things up for you. Rohit says, should I buy links starting from starting month for my site? You have 15 articles. You know what, the way that you're asking this question. So number one, I did this the other week. So Rohit, my name doesn't have an H on the end. The word that you spelled is dough, and that's how they make pizza or bread. And that's not my name. It's a very common like misspelling, and I don't know why the fuck it happens, but I see it probably at least once a day. It's really weird, and I have no idea. I mean, I guess G and H are next to each other on the keyboard here, but like you're coming at them from the different sides. So I don't know why people do that. I'll answer your question if you answer mine. So why is that? Why do people do that? Finally, I wouldn't recommend that you buy links for your site if it's that young, unless you're paying for links in a good way. The way that you've asked this question makes me think that you're going to get links from Fiverr or some really shitty source out there, and I wouldn't recommend you do that. It's a pretty risky proposition if you don't know what you're doing purchasing links. You should, however, promote your site as soon as possible. So if you have, Travis, come on, man. So if you have 15 articles on your site, it's okay to go ahead and promote your site, get some backlinks. I would suggest through a white hat method so that you don't end up with, a penalty and then all your work is for nothing. Zachariah says, you're using the base WordPress theme. Do you need a tool to make focus key phrases if you remove Yoast? Are focus key phrases even that useful for SEO? All right. Check out, Zachariah, if you go do a little more research, some people like Yoast. The thing is though, like I ended up just ignoring Yoast, and then I was like, why do I even have this on my site? So I took it off and realized that I didn't even need it. So if you are interested in like using another plugin, check out Rank Math. Like I said, I hear it's very good and it's a leaner plugin. It's not very old, so they're like bringing best practices in from an SEO standpoint, but they're also building it in a lean way. Yoast has been around for a very long time, so it has the legacy of bloated code, and it's grown in functionality, which is one reason why it's slow. As far as the focus key phrases, if you're doing keyword golden ratio, you're so far ahead of many people. So I don't use a plugin, like I said. So if you are using focus keyword phrases for something and that's useful for you, then keep doing it. If you don't know why you need it, then I would agree. I don't know why you need it either. Liam Sales says, Amazon launched in the Netherlands in March. What's my advice on creating sites for that specific country? So I don't know specifically the Dutch market, so I can't add anything specific. I would just say it sounds like you're from the Netherlands. So I think if you just created the site knowing, what's important to you and how to approach the products, then that would be fine. There's no other special things going on there. I've been to the Netherlands. It's great. I loved it. I was actually talking to one of my friends. She lives, I can't remember. I feel like the Hague is where she moved to. But I'm interviewing her soon. She's over at Skip Blast, Shauna Newman. So I've known her for years. So I'm excited to chat with her for the interview. It'll be coming out probably in a few weeks. So keep an eye out for that, and head over to Skip Blast too. Gina says, thumbs up. Travis says, thanks for the live stream. People are laughing. Now everyone's going to spell my name with dough. I'm just making it worse. There's more chatter about the dough stuff than anything else I said before that. All right, Jack, good to see you. Cyberden. Yeah, all of these people were coming up from the woodwork here. All these people coming up from the woodwork in the chat just to bust the balls on the pizza dough. All right, I brought that on myself. Oh, Aaron says, valid question here. What plugin do I use for reducing the image size? So what I do, there's a guy named, I'll answer the question, then back into it. There's a site, I think it's called I Love IMG. Let me look real quick. One sec. So I use this right here, Aaron. I use this. There's a bunch of them out there, but the founder of the theme company for the theme that I use, Thesis, the Focus WordPress theme, is Chris Pearson. Chris Pearson is very smart, and he has strong opinions on things. And I think sometimes, actually a few commenters, because I've interviewed him before, they were like, man, this guy, he's intense. And some people were like, I don't know if I can handle him. But I like Chris a lot. He's cool. I'm probably going to have him on here again soon. We got busy during the quarantine period and haven't been able to connect here recently. But Chris has like the SEO options built in for the theme. And he doesn't use a plugin to reduce the size of the image because that's overhead on your server. That slows your server down, right? So if it's compressing images, it's slowing your server down. So he compresses it, he optimizes everything ahead of time. So he'll get the size of the image proper, what he needs it to be. Then he'll compress it using this tool. It's a free tool. There's a shitload of them out there, so you could find your favorite one. He recommended this one. He had another one that he liked a lot previously, but then he was like, hey, I like this one now. So I started using it, and if someone, guest posts on my site, I'm like, compress all your images here, make them whatever, 1,000 pixels wide, and when I get them, they're in good shape, and I don't have to process them. So that said, as much as possible, I do things away from my WordPress server so that it can do what it needs to do, which is, make calls to the database and render the page. It shouldn't be doing all this other processing. It does create additional work that you have to do or figure out how to handle elsewhere. So Rohit says, oh, you're going to buy it from Authority Builders. I guess I answered the question at some point. I really lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So if you're getting the links from a good source, you know what you're doing, then you're all right. Okay, cool. Thanks, Rohit. And I think we are done. We are out. Jaron just hopped on, but I am just leaving. Been on here for over an hour, so I'm in a jet. Good to see you. A lot of people are hopping on now. Kind of funny. But yeah, I'm out of here. I'll be here again next week, and look out for the new course site growth plan coming out Monday. If you're not on the email list, do sign up. Go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button, enter your name and email address. Should be good to go. I'll be mentioning the course on YouTube as well, so if you just don't want to head over there, at least subscribe to the channel so that you'll see some of the videos that I put out about the course. I'll probably go live again. So have a good weekend out there. We'll see you later.